If you play the guitar or you've tried to learn a video online, then I'm pretty sure that you've heard of Justin Guitar, right? There are a lot of people all over the world who teach the guitar, but none of them do teach it just the way Justin does. Hey guys, I'm Alvito, and thanks so much for tuning into this video. And today I'm going to do a fantastic video breakdown of Justin. I'm not sure when I first heard of Justin, probably a few years ago when I was randomly searching through YouTube and it was one of the YouTube recommendations. But last year in the coronavirus, I made a decision of actually trying to get better at the guitar, and that's when I landed up at Justin's website. And I was mind-blowing. So today I'm going to divide this video into two sections. The first is my analysis and observations of what exactly Justin does in his videos and why it's so good. And the second one is for anybody who's planning on building their own personal brand or wants to really create some branding for themselves. We're going to analyze how you can use the various tips and the techniques and the tactics that Justin implements for your videos. So let's jump right in. Now, the very first observation I had about the Justin website or any of the Justin videos was that everything is free. I mean, like, this was the one point which really astounded me, because I mean, in today's world, everything should be monetized. Everything we have to pay for, and here's a guy who's just giving away all of his stuff like free. Unbelievable. Yeah, there are, I think there are more than 500 videos. And apart from one course, which is his PMT, that's his practical music theory course, everything else is free. Yeah, all you need is a guitar in your hand and YouTube, and you can just keep on learning everything. And so that's the first observation I had. The second observation which I had about his was that his entire content is structured in a complete A to Z format. Right now, what do I mean by an A to Z format? Is that it kind of handholds somebody who's never even touched the guitar in their life. From picking up a guitar, how you should hold the plectrum, what you should be doing with your left hand, how you should hold the guitar, towards a slightly more novice stage, the songs that you can learn, the chords that you can learn into a more beginner stage, and how you can really improve yourself into finally an advanced stage. Right? So it's an entire handheld structure guiding you from point A all the way to point Z. The third observation which I had about Justin is that he's super genuine. And this is a really rare quality to have, especially when you're watching someone on a YouTube video. And because people, they can really fluff their way. But if you notice the Justin videos, there are very minimal cuts or edits in like post-production. What you see is actually a simple mirror reflection of how he really is in real life. The best example I have for this is he's got on his YouTube channel one playlist which is essentially recorded live sessions where he's training a student. Right? So I think her name is Tammy, and these are videos which are like 45 minutes long, 45 minutes to like 55 minutes long, and these have like zero edits, zero retakes in them, and the way he behaves in these videos, you can see that it's a complete mirror reflection of the way he actually behaves in real life, right? So they've got small jokes in between, they've got mistakes that he does, everything is not 100% perfect. The way he teaches, the way the student reacts, her reactions, right, where she's laughing at some joke, or she really doesn't understand something that he's saying and he's got to like re-explain it again. His genuinity comes across. And the fourth observation, and this is by far the biggest one that I've taken away, is that Justin probably started teaching all this like 13 years ago. I found videos of his which say, uploaded on YouTube 13 years ago. And he started off teaching the guitar not with the intention of making money, but he started off with the intention of actually helping people get better at the guitar. Now, this is super big because a lot of folks, and myself included, when we start off with something, in the back of our head, it's always there that we should be able to monetize this, or, we should use this for getting a bit more fame, or for some other ulterior motive. But in the case of Justin, that's not there, right? You can tell that the quality of his video, which was shot 13 years ago, it's probably just on a phone, there's no mic, there's no studio quality sound recording equipment. But his attitude towards creating those very initial videos is actually to help someone get better at the guitar. It's really to help them, break out of their comfort zone, to help them get better, or if they probably learn the guitar earlier on in their life and then they've stopped learning it for a few years, he really wants you to start falling back in love with that. And you can make out that it's a passion for him, right? It's not a passion to see how fast you make progress, or whether, people see him or he's become super famous because of these videos. But it's a passion for him to help others experience the joy of actually playing a guitar. And that is the biggest takeaway, which really comes across in every one of his videos. So now let's quickly move on to section 2, and how we can actually use his 4 observations which I had when watching all of his videos. Right, and I'm gonna just go in reverse order of everything that I just talked about earlier. Right, the first point that we talked about was that he started this as a passion project, not something ready to monetize. And the key point over here is on how we can really use this is it's got to be something which is very close to your heart, right? It's got to be something that you can do without a lot of effort, right? So when you're creating an online brand, right, maybe you're just like recording videos, talking towards a YouTube audience, the way that I am doing. But it's got to be something that's very close to your heart. It's got to be something that comes easy to you, right? I'm reminded of this speech by Steve Harvey.
Your gift will make room for you. Now, what is your gift? It's the thing that you do the absolute best with the least amount of effort. That's your gift. Quit running away from the gift. Your gift will make room for you. Stop trying to be something you ain't gifted at.
Now, right there, you can see that Steve Harvey talks about, having a gift. And when it comes to Justin, I don't believe his gift is in the guitar, right? In his ability of playing the guitar, because that's being a learned skill, right? Something that he's done over the years, and he's become very good at it. But I think his gift is in an insane ability of wanting others to experience the joy in something, right? It's a desire in really wanting someone else to experience the fun, the happiness, right? The simple pleasures that playing the guitar can bring to you. It's not about, like, his passion is not about making you the best guitarist to go on stage and perform in front of people. It's about making you a guitarist whom you can play in a room all by yourself, right? When there's no audience, and you can really have that sense of pleasure and happiness, right? So that's what his main gift is, right? To have others experience that joy. Right, to have others experience that happiness of actually playing the guitar. And this is something, so whenever you're starting at your own personal brand, just think of this, right? Think about something that you really hold very close to your heart, and you can do it with ease, right? Something that you can just stop, right? So that's why a lot of podcasts today are doing so well, because it's just a person talking, right? It's basically the same mental images that they have in their head. But whenever they're like taking a shower or something, they imagine having conversations with other people, and they've taken that exact same scenario and they've just broadcasted it onto like YouTube. They've got somebody else whom they can really ask the questions to, and that's why a lot of people really love to listen to podcasts, because it's something that's so simple. It doesn't take multiple retakes. You can make a little bit of mistakes as well along the way. But that was the biggest takeaway which I learned from Justin. Right? He had this joy in really giving back. And so here's another question which I used to normally ask myself way back in 2019 when I was working. Was if you had a rich uncle and he died, right, suddenly, and he left you an inheritance of like $10 million, right? Not just rupees but in dollars, what would you do? And if the answer to that question includes something like, oh, I would probably just quit my job, or I wouldn't do XYZ or this particular task, right? I definitely wouldn't do that because I've already got all of the money now, right? Then it simply means that task or that XYZ factor is not your gift, right? It's something that you've been doing just for money. Right? And this is a simple question that you have to ask yourself, right? It's not an answer that anybody else can give you, but it's something that you have to ask yourself, and the answer will really shock you. Right? I mean, I know it did for me when I asked myself that question, because then I realized if I had like $10 million, I would probably do a lot of, fun stuff. I'd do stuff that I would really want. I wouldn't have to care about how I'm earning money or how I'm earning an income, and that's what Justin really does here. Yeah, his joy comes from not the money factor. The joy is from the fact that he just got to teach others, right? And I'm talking about like 13 years ago. Do you think that Justin, if he had a rich uncle who died and gave him like $10 million, do you think that he would stop recording these guitar tutorials for YouTube? Do you think that he would stop, would he think to himself, oh man, this takes up a lot of time? And, and then after like sit for like 5 hours and just like re-edit the whole film or the whole video, have to add in like color corrections, have to make sure that the sound is good, have to spend money in buying sound equipment. And then I have to like go on my website, I have to type in this whole article about what I've actually said in the video, and I have to like copy paste like diagrams and all this work. It's taken me like 8 hours to just write that blog article. In total I'm spending nearly like 3 days on this. I didn't ever think that Justin would do that. Right? He would never for once even think that he should stop doing this just because he's got the money, right? So you can tell that that passion really comes through. So if you want to start something like online, like an online brand for yourself, and you're not really sure like what that passion is for yours, like the best advice I can give you is just keep searching, right? It's like Steve Jobs said in his Stanford commencement speech a long time back. If you haven't found what you're really looking for in life, keep searching, right? Because eventually you will find it, right? And that's probably a video discussion for another day on how you can actually achieve that. So I'm not really going to get into that. But try to find that one thing that you love and that you would be willing to do even if you had like $10 million in the bank, right? Because that's your brand identity, right? That is the point which will distinguish you from the millions of others around you who are simply creating videos so that they can monetize it. The second point that we discussed about Justin was how genuine he is, right? And if you are starting an online brand, basically just be genuine, right? And if you notice in these videos, there are very minimal cuts which I try to do, right? Because the more vulnerability that we show off, right, the more impressed other people are, right? Not even like impressed, but the more touched others are, right? It kind of shows them that you don't have to be perfect, right? You don't have to be great. You can make mistakes along the way, right? I remember there was this one video I was watching, like it's an interview of Dwayne Johnson, and he actually started crying in that interview.
My mom gets out of the car, and when she got out of the car, I'll never forget it, she had a glazed look over her eyes that I had never seen before. And she walks right into the middle of I-65 and continues to walk down into oncoming traffic. And my heart stopped.
So I remember thinking like, okay, this is Dwayne Johnson and he's like 225 pounds and he's got all these muscles and this guy's crying over here. Man, that's really touching. Right? Just imagine in the current corona times, right? The whole world is reeling under this enormous strain and hospital beds are getting overwhelmed and we all know people who've been having like COVID. And that reality, that sense of vulnerability comes through in Justin's videos, right? It kind of creates a big connection with the audience because the audience realizes is that here's a guy who's really, really good in teaching the guitar, but he's also a really great human being, right? He makes mistakes, he makes small jokes. Sometimes his jokes might backfire, right? He's really trying to provide help, advice to all of us. And so that's the second big point is just watch one of Justin's videos, like I mentioned earlier, where he's actually teaching a student. I'll put a link down in the description. But you notice in this video, it's an entire unedited video, and you notice the jokes that he makes, the mannerisms, his body language, right? They come through in that video. And so it tells others who are watching you that when you're creating an online brand, you don't have to be perfect, right? You don't have to be like an action hero or, it's not like a movie production that you're making. You can make a lot of mistakes in between. And that's why others will really adapt to you. They'll really start falling in love with your content because it shows them that you are one of them, right? You're the same like them. The third point that I'm going to talk about in terms of Justin is his entire content structure, which goes from A to Z. Right now, this is a big takeaway. If you're creating an online brand, preferably, and again I stress the word preferably, create something that can take a user from A to Z. again, if possible, right? Because if you go to the Justin website, you'll notice that he's got a lot of menu options, right? So there's like a menu option for scales, for songs, right? For like song repertoire. He's got something on like ear training, right? He's got something on like transcribing and a lot of different things. If you go through his courses, right, you'll notice that it takes a beginner from A all the way to Z. Right? He's got different grades like grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, anything until like grade 6 is for beginners, and grade 7 till grade 12 is like for intermediate, grade 13 onwards for like advanced, and so on. But the key takeaway over here is when you're creating an online brand, try to create something that takes a user all the way from point A till point Z, because that's what will make them fall in love with you. Because then they realize, the audience realizes they don't have to search for multiple people who can help them along the way. I think of it like dancing, right? If you found somebody on YouTube who could just teach you one step versus somebody who could teach you that step along with a lot of other steps along the way that would finally add up into you becoming a good dancer, you'd probably want to stick with the latter. That being said, there are times when you might not be able to create A to Z content, and in cases like that, you should go ahead and create singular solitary videos like what I'm doing over here. And so each episode is not connected to the previous one. And each video is a video by itself. And similar to like Joe Rogan's podcast, each video is by itself. It's just Joe talking to whoever he's interviewing. And so when you're creating your online content structure, if possible, get it from A to Z. And you can always modify that over time, right? You can increase the number of steps. You can create videos on more finer details that you probably forgot about the first time, right? The same thing like Justin. If you've been following him for a long time, you'll realize that he actually had a completely different website and a completely different course structure 4 years ago versus today. Today it's a lot more in-depth, right? So preferably when you're creating your online brand, create something that you can take a user from A to Z. If not possible, then you go ahead and create separate solitary videos that can be watched all by themselves. And the last one that I'm going to talk about is about the fact that Justin gives us all away for free. Right? And this kind of brings everything all in together. And I don't think Justin realizes this, but he's hit the nail on the head on like what I think is the number one marketing tactic used, and that is provide immense value to the other person. Right? If you can provide immense value to the other person, I guarantee that you will be in their mind for a long time, and they're going to start recommending you to others as well. Right? The way Justin does this is he gives it away for free. So now just imagine if you're somebody who's wanting to learn guitar and you have a choice between paying to have a professor come to your house and teach you versus paying for a Udemy course or some online course, and then you also have Justin teaching you stuff on YouTube for free. Now in the beginning you would probably think that having a teacher come to your house and teach you would actually be the best option, because you get to learn a lot of minute and finer details. But then when you weigh the cost factor in as well, you realize that even though you're not completely sure on how good an online free YouTube course by Justin is, when it comes to a cost analysis, you're like, hey, this is for free, and let me just try this for maybe like 2 months, and then I'll see if I really like the guitar, whether it's something that I want to like really invest in terms of like a teacher. And so you start learning from Justin and you get hooked onto it, and then you realize like, hey man, this guy really teaches really well, so I'm going to stick with him for a little longer. And that's the biggest, I won't say the biggest takeaway, but that is one very important point in terms of like marketing which Justin has done, is that he's created a value perception that is superbly high, right? Supremely high, and that value perception is because he's giving it away for free, right? The moment you give away good quality content for free, you will automatically be a lot better than someone else who also gives away the equally same good and high quality content but charges the price for it, because most people are going to want to flock towards you, right? You think of Netflix versus say Hotstar, right? Most people will say that Netflix has a very high content library, right? They've got the latest shows, previous movies and so on, but there is nothing free on Netflix. There's no, at least I don't think there's a 30-day try for free, right? But on Hotstar, there's a freemium model, right? So you pay for some content which you want, but you also have like free content. Right? Now, in the case of Justin, he's done everything for free. And that's not particularly a business model that I would advocate, because I think you still need to be earning money and try to monetize it as well. So you could probably, later on go like the Hotstar way, wherein you've got some content which is for free, you've got some content, premium content which is also paid for. But this was a big takeaway for me from Justin, is that the reason why a lot of people really love watching his videos and learning from him is obviously because his quality of teaching is really high. Right? He knows what the hell he's talking about. But apart from that, the value of benefit, right? So like the cost value proposition of this is unbelievably high because it's so free. And if you're starting an online brand, if you're trying to sell like products, or you're trying to do like videos, say on YouTube, right? Now YouTube by default is free for audiences to watch, right? People can watch it for free, they don't have to pay anything. Right? But if you're trying to sell products, try and create this value proposition wherein you give immense value. And the one way of doing that is to start giving things away for free. Right? The more free that it is, the more that people will learn about you and they'll want to stick with you. And that stickability is a lot higher with people that have already tried you and experienced you the first time. Right? So guys, those were the 4 tips that I've learned by just simply observing Justin. Right? He gives it away for free. Right? So when you're starting your own business, create an immense value proposition. 2 is that he's got an entire structured outline content. So if you're creating your online brand, if possible, on pen and paper, first create that entire structure, from point A to point Z, of how you can lead a complete novice and how they can actually benefit by using your product or watching your videos. If possible, right? Create an A to Z structure. And the third one from Justin is that he's super genuine. He shows his vulnerability. Right? He doesn't try to come up that he's he's better than he is. At times he'll actually admit that, hey, maybe you should be, or like he actually says that, I'm not the best guy in singing. There are a ton of other YouTube videos available on people who are much better in singing than me. Right? So he's very comfortable in his own skin. He's genuine, and it comes across that he really wants to help you. And the final 4th point is that he didn't start this with a monetary objective in mind. That's by far the biggest takeaway. And he started all of this with the objective of just really helping people and helping people to enjoy the benefits of the guitar. So when you're starting your online brand, do something that comes naturally to you, something that it just keeps on playing over and over again in your head. Like maybe you keep on thinking of like interviewing people or like talking to people or just giving away your thoughts. And if that's true, start doing some YouTube videos. Right? It should just come naturally to you. Right? Just talking to like a camera. And over time, you'll see that it will pay off a lot. Till next time, guys. Ciao. Bye-bye.